Remember Lily Blossom? I wouldn't blame you if you don't, honestly. As a brony myself, I'm fairly certain you haven't heard of her, unless you were some sort of super fan of My Little Pony. I managed to find out about her existence back in 2011 when I was shopping online for new merchandise. And what do you know? She showed up in a Walmart listing for about 15 bucks. My first thought was, wow, she just looks like Derpy with wavy hair. She had that cheap, mildly inaccurate plasticky feel that the usual figures for the show have. So I didn't really care for it, as I usually just collect things that have quality in each stitch or chisel. However, at the time, my niece's birthday was coming up somewhere around the weekend. Based on a few Google searches I've made, this little toy was brand new and currently hibernating on the shelves in stores. So I drove to my nearest Walmart and bought it anyway, along with a few ingredients for her birthday cake. I do recall one of the shelves in the toy section being choked with MLP figures, with a fourth of them being of Lily Blossom. I assumed they were just trying to get rid of her as they had too much in stock, but apparently that wasn't the case at all. Around 5 days after I bought the toy, my niece unwrapped it during her birthday party and seemed to be thankful for it, which was a relief. She even ran to her bedroom after her party was over and added it to her playset. I could hear her reenacting the characters and giving Lily a voice of her own, while me and my family were having cake, which was a nice thing to hear. That weird little plastic toy didn't last long in her grasp, though. Not even 2 days after I got her that toy, I got a call from my mom telling me that my niece wanted to talk. She gave the phone to her and she started telling me that Lily turned into Fluttershy while she was sleeping. I could feel question marks buzzing around my head when she said that. I don't understand. How can a pony figure made entirely out of colored plastic transform overnight? I told her that she must have been having a weird dream, but then she replied saying that she woke up to 2 Fluttershy figures on her play table. My sister even took the phone back and clarified that she was telling the truth. I wired my sister 20 bucks from my bank account as an apology and went on 4chan. Yes, I used that back in 2011 to talk about my weird experience, albeit in a goofy, simplified sort of way, like all the other storytellers on that site are. I ended up getting the most confusing responses. Some users responded stating that Lily Blossom didn't exist, and that I was spreading misinfo, or that I may have just been dragged into the Mandela effect. I should have expected that, as this forum is notorious for having complete dickheads for users, but for some, they had a different story. There were a few others coming in to tell me that they had the same thing happen to one of their family members, to which more users that didn't know the full story called bullshit on. I know for a fact that I bought a toy for my niece with that exact name. I know I wasn't crazy. I decided to try and prove it by taking my camera to the store that I bought the toy from, so I can get a snapshot of the toy shelf. When I arrived, the shelf had literally every character that was being sold before, except Lily Blossom. Asking the manager of the store went absolutely nowhere either, because when I asked her if the store had any, and she went to her computer, she didn't even say that the toys were sold out, or that they didn't sell them. She literally said, and I quote, "Are you sure you're not looking for Fluttershy? We didn't put up any listings for a character with that name. We didn't get anyone with that name in stock either." Pictures of her didn't show up on Google Images despite how many there were before. Every listing I saw on each shopping site, not just Walmart, was taken down. As a last resort, I contacted Hasbro's customer service line, and even they didn't know what I was talking about, despite the fact that the packaging of the figures literally had their company name on it. But this wasn't the only weird occurrence I saw. As mentioned before, I am a brony. I live alone and I watch FIM in my spare time. And thanks to my job, I managed to collect some fairly expensive and rare merchandise for the show. At one point, I was on the Hub's channel, waiting for the next episode to come on. I had some lunch prepared at that time and I was wiped out from work, as well as all the strange occurrences that went down this past week. So I felt like this would help me get over things quicker. It didn't. In fact, it made things even more confusing as I never saw something like this again afterward. Lily Blossom appeared in an episode on the show that night. I think the name of the episode was Flutter Ditto or something, but I may be off. I don't remember everything that happened or what exactly they said, except for one thing. So I'll give a short rundown. From what I can remember, it was mainly about Fluttershy feeling less confident in herself, before eventually bumping into Lily. Lily goes on to help Fluttershy earn her confidence back by giving her bits of advice, like how to make amends with other ponies, or with animals that she accidentally ended up scaring. It would have been a wholesome experience if it weren't for that one scene. There was a part of the episode where, during a walk to Lily's home, Fluttershy asks Lily where she came from, as she didn't see anyone like her around Ponyville before, to which Lily responds with, "Oh, Fluttershy, I'm from a place where the apple wasn't bitten into, and the snake never made his visit." Lily was slowly turning her head and staring at the viewer as she said this, still innocent looking as ever, with some fitting, elegant music playing in the background. That stare she gave had an icy grip on my soul, even with how guiltless she looked. Like she was actually talking to me and trying to plant a seed in my head. Fluttershy would quietly say, "What?" to her, out of confusion. But then Lily turns her head away from the audience and interjects, saying that they made it to her house before the episode continued as normal. Moral at the end and everything. I skimmed through a few forums, including 4chan, to see if anyone had the same experience I did. They were mainly focused on that one quote Lily made in the episode, as expected. A number of them knew what she was talking about, but didn't understand why biblical undertones like this would be in a children's cartoon of all things. It's been about a decade since this happened. The episode never showed up again, with people online, several of them, claiming that it was a hoax, or simply a rumor. The Lily Blossom figures came back on eBay and Walmart. She even showed up as a McDonald's toy a year after the oddity occurred, as well as a mobile game sometime after. It's almost as if nothing ever happened. I might be missing something here. Am I? I know that most of what I'm saying is probably going to bore somebody, as anybody can have a vision like this. But this one was quite special, in a way that had me sweating, feeling a mixed bag of emotions at that moment. I dreamt about her. Yes, Lily showed up in my head while I was sleeping, to send a message to me, and she made it clearer by giving me something upon waking up. I was indulging in a lot of food before I went to sleep, but I'm pretty sure this isn't why. I appeared in nothing but white, clouds surrounding me like fog, with the ceiling and floor as reflective as glass. The clouds would split and form a walkway for me, like when Moses parted the Red Sea. I tried to run through the walkway, but I was just so slow. It felt like I was floating in midair in attempting to run in that state. I eventually stopped trying to run, and the weird force brought me closer to the shadowy figure ahead. There she was, a mare, twice the size as me, standing in front of me with the grace that a statue of a weeping angel would have. It was mostly light gray, but the mane was a much brighter shade of yellow. Its wings would spread out, spanning as far as a car would. I could hear the sounds of trumpets playing, each one at a specific elongated note, with a choir doing the same. She spoke to me. Her mouth didn't open. I made my message clear, didn't I? I didn't know whether to be afraid or not. The horse sounded very kind. It's just that what she was saying and how she spoke to me filled me with a sense of unease. Like no one would talk to me this way. Not even my own mother. She raised a hoof. Hold it. I gently gripped onto the bottom of her hoof like she asked me to. She spoke once more. Notice how I can touch you and not break a sweat from my brow. Notice how nothing here is leaving so much as a cut on your cheek, or leaving you cut up into little ducks, like the sustenance your mother would feed you in adolescence. If I'm faithful that you're growing, functioning, why be afraid? I wasn't fearful that she'd hurt me, but all of this still unsettled me. She made this message on the TV so long ago towards many, didn't she? If that's the case, why is she looking for me specifically? Why am I so special? Others think you're faking. That your message is out of paranoia, lunacy, delirium. I know you're just confused. The world is corrupt. All do not know when the second coming will commence. All but him. Seeing how broken everything was, and how your children couldn't even enjoy the works of another without immorality showing up. I experimented. Will they see a chilling anomaly, or a miracle from my words? She removed her hoof from my cupped hands. Those who fear a world without dishonor should learn many from your experience with me. Not everyone will believe, but I'm grateful with even one. Your instincts grip at your cloth. Awaken. Her mouth would finally open. A blaring white light, sparkling like topaz, flashed from her throat and eyes, covering the entire domain, causing not only her, but the clouds to disappear. The trumpets were getting closer. The choir screamed. I then woke up. My alarm clock was still at 3 hours after midnight. I'd breathe in and out, wondering if that was all just a dream, and not a vision from how much I've experienced over the years. I'd look around me, and stop upon seeing something hiding behind my clock. Something with yellow hair, poking out from above. I picked it up, and there it was. The exact toy I bought for my niece back in 2011, that transformed overnight. The only difference being that it had cursive writing carved on the side. Yahweh, bless.